The Milton Williams sweepstakes are heating up, baby. Just days before the tampering period, can Monti Ossenfort get a deal done with one of Jonathan Gannon's former favorite players, Johnny Venerable?
Plus, Mike Garafolo joins the show to preview NFL free agency. Wait till you hear what he has to say about our sweet baby Arizona Cardinals. PHNX Cardinals starts now. Hey, welcome in. Live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. The PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier #1 Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm Johnny Venerable. He is Brack in Studio K. No Damon Dog today. He's in the gym. How about Shane Diefenbach? As sweaty as ever. Post-combine. The Deef with us today.
Sweaty?
Everybody, well, maybe some J Sweaty J. Everybody drop a like on this show. Subscribe to PHNX Sports and PHNX Cardinals wherever you get your podcasts. A banger show today as Mike Garafolo joins us in a matter of minutes to talk all things free agency. Bo, it's an interview you don't want to miss.
That's absolutely correct. And, I had a realization earlier today, and Mike kind of made me feel even better about it. And I'll tell you in just a minute after I welcome everybody to the show. Of course, all of our diehards out there. I see you, Chef. I see AZ, bro. Han shot first. What's going on? Yeah, the live is legit when it's cracking Johnny's voice and his microphone at the same time, pushing the limits of our equipment here at PHNX Sports. K2, Rafa 30, Brian P, Snacks. Love that username. Dana R, Ball Knower in the chat. Mike Meyer, Tim, I see you, Josh, the entire squad. We're fired up because we're just days away. And in my realization, Johnny, to pay off that tease, I'm going to have my last weekday tomorrow without my sweet, precious caffeine.
You sure?
I'm pretty positive.
Because, hang on a second, depending on who you talk to here locally.
Take a beat now.
Wait a minute. Wait. Depending on who you talk to locally, it could be Monday or in a year or yesterday or in 2 weeks from now, or the Cardinals may go bankrupt. We're putting out all the feelers and all the opportunities just to cover our bases here. So I want to make sure you feel good about it. I'm checking on you.
I got a good feeling. I do. I don't know anything specifically. I mean, what I know is obviously just the last month, the gauntlet that we ran, just getting to know some people that are in the know at the Super Bowl, find people like Mike Garafolo and his colleagues over at NFL Network, and just people who are cover and around this team. It just, all signs are pointing towards aggressiveness. And if the payoff is the Cardinals making a splash move with aggressiveness, the vices will be back in play. Abstaining from caffeine, sweet treats, and having to go to the gym every day, those will be lifted and we'll be back in it and just be as gross and sick as ever, really kind of playing into those vices.
Yeah, we'll do a big splash in the pool here pretty soon. I agree with you, but we've been on that kind of gravy train for a little while. I think the minute we left Indianapolis, Shane, you and Damon and I, it's like, Cardinals are going to spin big. Who are they going to target specifically? Well, we can continue to affirm and confirm on this show what we've been hearing as it relates to Milton Williams. He is their top target, we've been told on PHNX Cardinals. Benjamin Albright supports that, as well as Josh Sweat. Numerous other outlets have confirmed that. So it's not exclusive to our show. Milton Williams is a top target for a lot of teams. And I think you look ahead to next week, and there's a lot of movement for defensive linemen, particularly older defensive linemen. We're going to get into Trey Hendrickson, right? Joey Bosa is a very old 29, broken down. Khalil Mack, free agent. Reddick, free agent. With different Jonathan Allen, right? Javon Hargraves, old. What differentiates Milton Williams Super Bowl champion, okay, prime of his career at a key position of need for the Arizona Cardinals. I don't care who they signed last year. 26 years old in the prime of his career. And by all accounts, after Trey Smith and T. Higgins are gone now with the franchise tag, is the top free agent available. And I think we got to start the show kind of taking a pulse of the room here of what a signing like that would represent for Monti Ossenfort, because not only would it be a big ticket signing, which he has not given out yet. I mean, it's the biggest fish, I would argue, available unless you're, screw job NFL franchise number 4 and you have to sign Sam Darnold, which you would wish that on a lot of people. Milton Williams, I think, is the best overall player available in free agency.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I met my lovely wife after I'd turned 30. I was a couple of years into my 30s when I met my wife. And when you're in the dating pool, obviously the 20s, you could, some people connect. But when you get to like your 30s, your 40s, you realize like, when you meet somebody nice, you wonder why they've been single for so long. And that's when you start to look at these free agents, right?
What was the answer that your wife gave about you? Like, what did she tell her friends?
I don't know. I think I just, I was like Albert Hainsworth, like you look like a big deal, but she's probably realizing, man, this is a monumental mistake.
There's some skeletons there for sure.
There's no skeletons, just poor play, but just poor play. As far as like these free agents, it's like, yeah, you try to do your homework and decipher like, why is this team willing to part ways? Why are they not willing to do what's possible to keep this player in-house for the previous team, right? That's everybody's catching up. That free agency can be fool's gold. It can be a smokescreen. But when you start to kind of peel back the onion, like you see the top free agents and the guys that seem like they have the least amount of red flags, like Milton Williams just happens to be a casualty of the Philadelphia Eagles having such a strength at his position. He's third deep on that depth chart, but him being third deep would probably be the top 2 on any other organization around the league outside of like the Kansas City Chiefs who have Chris Jones, right? And he's, he was able to save himself, play about under 50% of the snaps, but he checks all the boxes. And then also the familiarity with Jonathan Gannon that makes it an even easier homework to do. So like you look at these guys, and I think, beyond Milton Williams, even with his teammate, hitting free agency, Josh Sweat, this is a guy that's got, what's his ceiling as far as production? A lot of people want to point to, well, he's not going to be a big time sack leader. Like he's got this knee issue that keeps on coming up in reports. Like Milton Williams is healthy. He's young. He's productive. He had the biggest game on the biggest stage, and he's a guy that's ready to cash in, and he's kind of a free agent outlier. And that's why I think like everything points to, if you're going to be aggressive with one guy, it's that guy, because it's also a position of need for your team.
We got almost 400 people watching live, just 8 minutes in. Smash that like button. We got a hell of a show for you today, kicking things off here with Milton Williams. And I mean, it's in the show title. The Cardinals are interested. Clearly, we know that. The Vikings, I find it crazy, but a lot of people nationally are tying them to Milton Williams. They struck out last year on some defensive tackles, but they struck gold with Jonathan Grenard and company. And then you've got the Patriots, who need everything and have infinite money. But I mean, they're very much where the Cardinals were, I think, 2 years ago, where they're basically starting from scratch. They need offensive help like their defensive line. And then, another team kind of in the mix is the Carolina Panthers, right? And you could argue their viability, but that division is trash. So here's where the Cardinals stand. If we can see Shane Deef, the top 10 free agent spending. So Cardinals 2025 cap space leaders. The Cardinals are just behind the Patriots in that hierarchy. The Raiders last year signed Christian Wilkins. They're not going to be interested. The Chicago's Bears figure is not accurate now because they just acquired 2 expensive guards. So I would imagine you can cut that total in half. But there are the Vikings right there, not pictured, the Carolina Panthers, who have some money. Cardinals have no excuse. Monti Ossenfort has no excuse, right? Like we're going to talk to Mike Garafolo around the corner, who continues to preach the notion like, if you want Milton Williams, you got to pay big money for him.
Yeah.
And I'm anxious to see what the kind of the pushback would be from the fan base here locally. Like, let's say the Cardinals don't get Milton Williams, right? And they offered $24 million a year. And the Patriots, because they have dumb money right now and they're just trying to throw stuff at the wall to see what sticks, they offered 27. Are people going to respond well to that? Are people going to be okay with the fact that you bid, but you didn't bid crazy money? Like, what's the perception there? Should the Cardinals outbid everybody because it's a position of need, the familiarity with Gannon, and it's because they're close? There's a clip, by the way, I think that our guy Jace tweeted out, just saw it before the show. Basically, Chris Sims takes the Cardinals to the woodshed in the best possible light. Just basically like, what are you waiting for? Mm-hmm. Now is the time. Would you be disappointed if the Cardinals don't overspend on Milton Williams?
I think they know how far they're willing to go. And I don't know if they're willing to go beyond that because they view it as, okay, once you reach a certain number, and Gannon told you and I this pretty much to our face during our exclusive interview with him that we released earlier this week, was, you know, players in their value and how it kind of goes into your organization. Like if you reach a certain number, it's like, I love this player, but I don't love him at that number. Like, right. I think they know what's going to be a good move in number that's going to be, in their mind, you know, be conducive to running a good business and running and building the roster like they want to run. So like when they talk about, hey, there's this player we could get $100 million, and they say, hey, Jonathan Gannon, you want us to go spend $100 million? And he told us, he's like, wait, no, not at $100 million, guys. I don't want him at that, because he understands that they have other areas what they need to improve and other places that they need to allocate that money. So no, I think that like if New England's willing to push the boundaries just because they've got monopoly money for salary cap, then that's unfortunate. And it would be unfortunate for a guy like Milton Williams to have to go there and just take the highest dollar. But if they can get close, I think that they should have the edge, just because where they are organizationally and in the as far as the landscape of the NFL on the outside looking in, instead of maybe being a year away. But like I think I could live with it, just based on if somebody's just willing to go way over the top.
Like, rarely, to your point, do you find the stars aligning, and I hate that phrase, in free agency like this, where, I mean, like, what box does Milton Williams not check for you? Age, check. Premium position, check. Familiarity with your head coach, damn near developed him, check. Right? Character, check. Winner, check. And now he's available. I'm okay if you overspend. It's always that phrase, it's not my money, right? And the Cardinals, they can afford it. They certainly can. And if you have to have some lean years on the back end because you're trying to make the playoffs for the first time since 2021, you're trying to win the division for the first time since 2015. I know a lot of people want to be tongue-in-cheek cute this morning about the Javon Hargraves deal and how the Niners regret that. Well, yeah, he was old when they signed him. Wasn't he like 30 years old when they signed Javon Hargraves? Why did they do it? Because they were trying to win a Super Bowl, and no one can push back on that. Milton Williams is 26 years old.
Sure. But here's what I'll say. Like, Milton Williams is valuable as you and I believe him to be, and a lot of our really informed listeners and viewers. He's not worth Chris Jones, Christian Wilkins.
He's not a $30 million player.
Yeah. Right. Like, but if they go and he beats out, a Justin Madubuike or a Derek Brown money, then I'll be fine with it. If he's just above that, if he's around $24-25 million annual average, like, yeah, that's what it's going to take. But if New England's like, we'll just come in over the top, we don't care about resetting the market or putting him in the same conversation as two guys who've done it at a higher level, and Chris Jones doing it at the highest level, post Aaron Donald, like, I think that just becomes dangerous. That's bad team building.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think it's going to get to that point, though. Because,
yeah.
Do you feel like Milton Williams is as valued as Justin Madubuike was last year, or Christian Wilkinson was last year? Christian Wilkins. I think maybe if he's not on their level, he's just a tick below.
I do agree. He's just a tick below. And, like, if it's the same deal as Madubuike, I'd be fine with that. I mean, when you look at his total money, probably be Madubuike checked in about $98 million total money last year, probably $85 to $95 million.
I mean, if you're not going to spend that money now, when are you going to spend it? If you believe that Milton Williams can help you in an area that you have been just atrocious at for 2 seasons. Like, or you're going to sit back. I see a lot of people say, wait till the second or third wave and get a Jonathan Allen or somebody like that. The defensive lineman from the Commanders.
Yeah. Who's 30, right?
You guys want to get older and slower and more expensive, and guys who have had thousands of more snaps on their body, who may or may not be a good scheme fit. Like, I get it. You always want to take a flyer and try to get a 1-year deal that, you can make the most out of. And the Cardinals, they do that pretty well, I would argue. They got a lot out of AJ Green once upon a time, like Dwight Freeney, but this team is uniquely positioned with all of the taking of vegetables that they've done the last 2 years. So many first and second year players, go out and get the best free agent available. What that would mean, I think on and off the field, the perception of the team, putting the NFC West on notice a little bit, like, hey, Rams, you feel like everything's going well for you? You're just bringing back Stafford and Tutu Atwell. We just got a big-time ass kicker in the middle of our defensive line. The Niners are stripping it down. The Seahawks are poised to lose DK Metcalf. I mean, it's like, and then the Cardinals are like, actually, we have everybody coming back, and we're adding to a team that was 8-9 with a bunch of 1-score losses in the second half that could have easily been 10-11 wins. You cannot continue in this division to be passive city. You can do that in the South on both conferences, not in the NFC West.
Yeah. Who's going to catch the ball outside of JSN in Seattle? Is it like
T-Mac?
Is it Jake Bobo? Jack Bobo? Is that his name?
Jake Bobo? Put some respect on Jake Bobo's name.
Is he wide receiver 2 by default since they released Tyler Lockett, and then DK Metcalf, his teammate, put out his trade request on the same day?
If he gets moved, then he's wide receiver 2. Jake Bobo's season is coming, and it's coming with a vengeance.
As much as it pains me, because I hate the Seahawks, they smoked the Cardinals last year. The second game was not competitive. You should put Gannon, Ossenfort, put that tape on, and then get the checkbook out and do one of these.
Milton Williams,
Geno Smith in Seattle had about 20 seconds to throw, vomit-inducing. I don't want to see that anymore. Gross. I want to see somebody put heat on inept, immobile Brock Purdy and Geno Smith and 100-year-old Matthew Stafford. These are immobile quarterbacks. Put some heat on them. No more of this. We're going to get depth. We're going to nickel and dime the defensive line. 2 straight off seasons without a marquee defensive lineman added. Hell, without an edge rusher added in free agency. That stops Monday. It has to. You have to put the NFL on notice and then go out and make a move for a mid-tier receiver and be creative at other areas of need and go BPA in the first round. Awesome. What happens early part of next week has to set the tone for the entire offseason, one way or the other, because if it goes the opposite direction, this pod is accountability city. Bobo.
Yeah. Put the league on notice with a move, 2 moves, some secondary moves. I mean, on top of one that's going to steal some headlines. That's necessary. That's what, all the hard work that you've done as far as roster building and some of the games you lost that you endured to and put yourself in this position with an eye on the future and consistent success as what you want the payoff, that delayed gratification. It's for this moment, right? Going into year 3, where it seems like Gannon, the players, they all have that mindset, like pushing the chips into the middle of the table. Year 3, we should be able to break through in a big way. But now as far as where the roster's set, as far as how you built it, it merits you going out and spending and being aggressive as far as getting premier free agents.
The Panthers, DC, the Brian Flores, Avero in Carolina, Patriots with Vrabel. They all got, I think, good defensive people on their staff. Mm-hmm. None of them developed Milton Williams. None of them were instrumental in bringing Milton Williams to the Philadelphia Eagles and having him be a 2-time Super Bowl participant and now a champion. Like that has to trump everything for me if I'm part of the Arizona Cardinals. What does Mike Garafolo think of the Cardinal chances for Milton Williams, for Trey Hendrickson? How active is this team poised to be? We asked Mike right around the corner. You're not going to want to miss this. His in-show debut for the remainder of the offseason that's coming up. But first, let me talk to you about our friends at Timeline. Timeline sells health, longevity supplements. I'm always looking to add new supplements into my routine, something that makes me feel good, something that I can get productive activities done during the day. They have done 15 plus years of research and secured 30 plus US patents for their products. It's fantastic. Again, check them out on Timeline's website. They've got, have you heard of this, guys? I'm not sure if you've heard. Midopure. Midopure recharges your cells in your body, helps everything just work that much better. It takes you from here to here, next level. It's the only supplement clinically proven to regenerate health and cellular level. I mean, I'm leaving the NFL Combine. I feel like absolute garbage. And then I look at this and I'm thinking, this is exactly what the doctor ordered, shown to deliver double-digit increases in muscle strength, absolutely, and endurance without change in exercise. It's a win-win, folks. It's a call to action right now. Get ready to be your best, most energized, most revitalized you. Everybody get a pen and paper right now. Go to timeline.com/PHNX. Again, timeline.com/PHNX. Bonus code, of course, is PHNX. $10 off your order of Midopure. Again, Timeline, upgrade your energy level and revitalize your well-being today, Bo.
Love it from our friends at Timeline, brand new sponsor that we're pumped about. Tomorrow, the Phoenix Suns are in action, taking on the Denver Nuggets on the road, the rich, creamy nougats.
Is that a threat?
What's that?
Is that a threat?
No, look, they're coming off an exciting win. And who doesn't want to just go for your Phoenix Suns Party Central, Spinato's Pizzeria? I mean, it is basketball and pizza. That's what Spinato's all about. We love Spinato's. Me and my wife and my son, we eat at Spinato's once a week. He gets the kids' pizza. My wife and I, we get the spicy Italian. We also get a nice little Caesar salad there. It's fantastic. The vibe's always immaculate. Even get in there and you can win yourself some prizes. Who doesn't love prizes by participating in Spinato's version of horse, but it's called pizza, Pizza, instead of horse. Check them out right now. Go win yourself some tickets to Suns games and so much more. Feel the energy, cheer for your team, win big, and eat great pizza. Get all the info, watch parties, pizza, basketball contests at SpinatosPizzeria.com. You can also order your pizza to be delivered from SpinatosPizzeria.com. Spinato's, the official pizza of the Phoenix Suns.
Mike's right around the corner, but first, check out our guy Fran Duffy's work. He's dropping a mock draft. And Bo and I, we had a collective with Fran Duffy yesterday, and we might have revamped his pick. And you can see it more at GoPHNX.com, the NFL Draft Insider himself, giving us the latest and greatest from this draft class and more. Become a diehard. Under $50 for the entire year. You get a free piece of merch, exclusive access to the member Discord. Hello. And of course, all the access to GoPHNX.com from our guy, Gerald Bourguet, and of course, Fran Duffy, and more. Become a diehard. Again, it's the best decision you can make to follow your premier coverage here of the Valley and beyond. And now, our guy, Mike, let's hear from him.
We love bringing you guys great insight from our exclusive with Jonathan Gannon last week. Mina Kimes on throughout the regular season. We continue that with NFL insider Mike Garafolo from NFL Network. The Insiders, make sure you follow him on Twitter at Mike Garafolo. And Mike, you know, today your colleague Ian Rappaport put it out there that Trey Hendrickson has been given permission to seek a trade from the Cincinnati Bengals. And we're sitting here, we're looking at the Arizona Cardinals this offseason in need of an edge rusher. Is that a potential fit for Hendrickson, and what would it potentially cost?
Sure. I mean, it's one of the possibilities, I would say, for what the Cardinals are looking to do. The cost, I mean, you're talking about the compensation toward the team. I mean, yeah, it's not. I mean, he's already 30, so he's going to be on the other side of 30 when you're getting him. I'm looking at day 2 compensation, day 2 of the draft. So you're talking, second and the third round compensation. It's obviously not going to be day 1. Day 3 feels a little low to me. So it would be that, but then on top of that, you got to pay him. And we know what the numbers are right now with Max Crosby at $35 million. By the time all is said and done, the top of the pass rusher market is going to be at 40. So if I'm Trey Hendrickson, I want to be in the 30s. I don't know if it's comparable for him to say I could be around Max Crosby, but it is certainly in that ballpark. So Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Micah Parsons, all going to be pushing that number up to 40. Trey Hendrickson to me is in the 30s when all is said and done.
Mike, we're going to see a lot of movement up front on the defensive line, both maybe via trades and certainly during free agency when things kick off next week. The bell of the ball, certainly among defensive tackles, appears to be ex-Eagle defensive tackle Milton Williams.
Yeah.
The Cardinals supposedly have interest. How do you see that market playing out? Because it's a match made in heaven with us here locally. Like Jonathan Gannon, Milton Williams, they have nobody a disruptor on that front four right now. Yet you hear other teams, whether it be the Patriots or the Vikings or the Panthers, like, how competitive is Milton Williams' market right now 4 days out?
Yeah, I think it's going to be competitive. And to me, Osa Odigizua getting done at $20 million per year sets the floor there for Williams. So I think it's going to be above that. I frankly, Osa should have been above that. I mean, if he was going to get tagged and you had his agent talking about how he was going to get tagged, if that's the case, he would have been tagged at 25 and you're doing a deal at 20. And that's what Jerry Jones banks on. And he got it in this case. The guys are willing to take less to remain with the Cowboys. So that's what Osa Odigizua did there. So to me, it's going to have to be above that. I know that there is the connection. We talked about it in Indy with Milton Williams and being the first guy that Jonathan Gannon had drafted when he was with the Eagles. So I think they're in that ballpark. He does do some similar things to what Justin Jones does. So you wonder if maybe they look at it and say, well, we'd have to move one of those guys off of where he is. To me, you can never have enough guys up front that can create some havoc up front. So I know how committed the Cardinals are to improving the front. There are now multiple guys with connections to Gannon. When you loop in Josh Sweat as well, there is some questions about Sweat and his knee and whether that's going to hurt his market. And now Javon Hargrave as well, who's going to be released by the 49ers, which I always thought when they signed him that deal was just, I thought they overspent on that one. So now you're seeing them get to the point where we got to release Javon Hargrave. And I know what Gannon thought of Hargrave the last year that they were together in Philadelphia and the way that he was playing. So perhaps he'd be an option at a much lower price because of where he is in his career right now.
Let me ask you one more follow-up as far as Milton Williams goes. And it was a conversation we had on the show yesterday, but the connection of Milton Williams with Clutch Sports and now the new GM overseeing the football department is former Cardinals GM Steve Keim. Do you anticipate any kind of, fallout or bad blood between the two sides that could prohibit maybe the Cardinals getting in with some clutch players?
No, I don't. And it's the individual. I mean, Milton Williams is his agent's going to be Rick Roberts, is the guy that's going to do the deal. And it's business in the end. I mean, I've long since learned that when it comes to this time of year, it's the money that determines the I mean, listen to that. It's the money. And then if it's close, then it's the other considerations as well. But I don't see that one being an issue at all with the Arizona Cardinals dealing with Clutch at all. They've got a number of agents there. They've got a lot of clients. In the end, it's all about the business and what's right for the client.
Let's keep it on the theme of ex-Eagles with connections to JG. Hassan Reddick had a tough year with the New York Jets. You talk about Sweat probably commanding a premium. There's some question marks about his durability. Reddick, could there be an opportunity there, Mike, to do maybe a 1 to 2 year prove-it deal to kind of recap or reset his value? Or, I mean, what's the perception of Hassan Reddick within the NFL landscape right now?
Recap, reset, I think is the right phrase. Prove it, not so much, because just aware. I mean, he has proved it in the past what he can be. He's not the full repertoire. And this is the problem. This is why his market value and what the Eagles were willing to do when he wanted to get the deal redone again, a lot of teams don't see him as the full repertoire kind of guy. It's more of he can come off the edge with some speed there, but he's not a 5-tool pass rusher / run defender / you know what I mean? So, I think this is going to be a reset. I think you've seen him throughout the course of his career. If it's not right, it's wrong, right? The way the Cardinals used him the first couple of years, he just really never felt right. And all of a sudden they move him into a pass rushing role. And now they tapped into the potential that was there. And then it was to Carolina. And then it really took off kind of from there. And then last year, just everything from a business standpoint. And by the time he came back, it's just, he could never get his feet underneath him. He should have been in there from the jump, should have tried to work out the best possible deal from training camp with the Jets, even if he wasn't practicing. Decided not to go that route and just never got around to it. So yeah, it's going to have to be some kind of incentive laden deal is the way that I would call it. Probably it'll be a 1-year deal. with the ability to earn up to, let's say, around $10 million in that ballpark, based on some incentives, kind of like they sort of did in the end last year with the Jets. So we'll see which way it goes for Reddick in that department. But I do think there's some value if you get him at the right price and get him in early, get him feeling good, and put those carrots in front of him in the form of those incentives.
Analytics has kind of bumped up the need and I guess the value of interior offensive linemen the last couple offseason. Robert Hunt went over the $100 million mark last offseason, and you saw some other lucrative deals there. And now you're seeing Trey Smith. It's franchise tag. He's going to get a big time deal from the Chiefs. Joe Thuney moves to the Chicago Bears in a surprising deal yesterday. So that kind of leaves like Will Fries as the top guard on the market. It looks like Arizona Cardinals have a need at guard. If we get up past the JG guys and the defensive front seven players, you look at that need. What would it take to get a guy like Will Fries on this team? Or should we look, maybe lower tier free agents at that position?
Yeah, a lot of money. It's going to take a lot of money to get them, that's for sure. And there are some guards out there who have maybe played their best football, but you look at it and you say, well, you could still get some quality football out of these guys here. The Kevin Zeitlers, Brandon Scherf, I believe, is going to wind up. I don't think he's going to play anymore. I think he's going to retire. That's what I'm hearing out of him. Mekhi Becton is the interesting one. Mekhi Becton's the real interesting one because he reset himself. Philadelphia has been the right place for him in a lot of ways. Jeff Stoutland really tapped into him and got him feeling good after just a disappointing couple of years with the Jets up there. There is top line potential there. I thought he was going to get enormous money. I don't think it's going to come in there, but he'll get a nice sizable deal that he earned. The question is, does he want to stay in Philadelphia where he knows things have been great for him versus where they haven't been with the Jets and where they might not be wherever he goes in the next couple of years here. I'm looking over my list here. Will Hernandez is the disappointing one for me because he was playing so well.
Yeah.
And if he had stayed healthy, this would be where we'd be talking about. Maybe he already would have gotten it. The big extension for Will Hernandez, who earned it, but then he suffered that knee injury. I did see him at the Super Bowl. He's did some MMA training last year, which really helped his play, and it feels like it's helping his rehab. But it could be a little bit before Hernandez, and unfortunately, it's not going to be the deal that he would have gotten and would have deserved there. So we'll see. And Tristan Cologne's another guy out there. Tristan Cologne has got some interest from some teams to come in and potentially compete for a starting job somewhere. We'll see where he winds up.
Mike, we've been talking about it ad nauseum with our audience. Like, the Cardinals have the fourth most cap space in the NFL, and they're one of the few teams in the top five in terms of cap space that has a proven franchise quarterback that they're paying, which I think you could draw the conclusion that, well, that means they don't have a ton of great players on the roster they're paying big time money to. Is the overall perception ahead of free agency among the people you talk to is the Cardinals are poised to spend big money? Because we've heard that, but you've got to see them cross the finish line. They've never secured a Milton Williams atop a free agency board before. Like, it has to be proven that it can be done. Yeah.
They're going to make some noise here. Absolutely. There's no question. They're going to spend. They're going to get better on both offensive and defensive lines coming out of free agency. I believe we're going to be talking about that. Maybe not the sexiest thing for the average fan who's looking for the skill position guys, although the skill position guys really aren't bringing it this free agency period anyway. So, you're going to see that. And they've got some guys now, which is a good problem to have, to start to think about re-upping some of the guys that you drafted, with Trey McBride certainly leading the way there and getting his payday eventually. So you're going to see that money start to be spent throughout the roster. I do believe that they're going to nose around some quarterbacks, not top level guys, but some guys to come in and just, add a little depth, add a little experience at the quarterback position, maybe even push Kyler a little bit. Would not be surprised to see them nosing around that market at the lower levels, because there could be some guys available as well. So I did hear to expect them to at least be, checking things out in the quarterback market. We'll see.
We had heard when Daniel Jones was released last season, that was somebody they kind of prodded around. I mean, that seems like somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. If Minnesota doesn't kind of bring him back, depending on what Darnold does.
We're watching that one. We're watching that one right now. Daniel Jones, I've heard his name connected with the Indianapolis Colts as well. Daniel's going to be an interesting one to watch.
Yeah, the Trey McBride thing you brought up, I mean, is that something that benefits the Cardinals potentially getting done between now and the tampering period opening, or is that just something that they can just kind of do it on their own timeline?
No, there's no rush to do it in that regard. I think you take your time and you do it at the right price. You do it early. I mean, because the price is only going to go up. And now you're seeing some of these guys that are available in free agency versus the team. I mean, look at even the Eagles and the Saquon Barkley extension was, I think, a stroke of genius because of the impact that it's going to have throughout the locker room. And you saw it on social media with some of these guys immediately, the love that they have for Saquon, the appreciation they have for him. You've got running back deals coming up now, right? James Cook is going to do one. Kyron Williams is going to do one. And these guys are going to come in at, 16 and above. For Saquon Barkley, if you take the two deals and you put them together and you average them out, it averages out to about 16 per year. So the Eagles are looking at it saying, well, we got him for below market value last year. It's only a matter of time before he goes, oh, wait a minute. I deserve to be up with these guys that are now leapfrogging me and leapfrogging even Christian McCaffrey. So you do it before that happens. And Howie Roseman has done a great job of that. So I know that the Cardinals and Monti Ossenfort have an understanding of that as well. And Trey will get his money. It could be any time between now and, the end of the spring. If you want to do it really early, I would advise doing that even into training camp, but certainly before week 1.
Mike, Cardinals don't lack weapons, but they do lack experience at wide receiver. We had heard that they are going to kind of peruse around the veteran receiver market. And then yesterday, kind of a big occurrence, Christian Kirk released, not unexpected.
Yeah.
Cardinals could potentially upgrade at slot receiver. Of course, he's got familiarity with Kyler Murray's from Chandler, right? Mm-hmm. I do think Kirk's market is going to be bigger than maybe people anticipate. He's a good player. The receiver market depends on who you're talking to, leaves a lot to be desired. Like, what do you make of a potential Christian Kirk reunion in the desert?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of guys that are, you say a lot to be desired. There's a lot of free agent veteran guys that are available that you're not getting them in the prime of their careers, obviously, but whether it's DeAndre Hopkins available, Amari Cooper available, Christian Kirk as well, and the Kirk one, he went out, he got his money, and I'm sure it's going to be important for him to now compete, right? Because he hit it big at a time where we thought that contract was ridiculous. A lot of people did at the time. And it turns out you saw where the receiver market went after that. So I would expect that, looking for a place that he's comfortable, also looking to compete as well. It would be interesting to see him back with the Cardinals. We're talking about, whether it's Reddick or Kirk, guys that have been there before, certainly love the lifestyle of living out there. Mm-hmm. That's a draw. I always talk about the money, but when you get these things where they can kind of break the tie, and I do think a lot of, I've had this discussion with, agents and the like, who are going to be in control of where things go the next couple of weeks here in free agency. They do see the Cardinals as a team on the up, and now using free agency to fill in those holes to make themselves now become a playoff roster, a team that is ready to compete right now.
We talked to Cam Scadaboo in Indy. He said he's going to make a facility visit with the Cardinals, but of course he's in state. He went to Arizona State, so it's not going to cost him a top 30. Your colleague Tom Pelissaro said Shemart Stewart expected to go. Any other kind of top 30 visits that are materializing for the Redbirds?
We're so locked on free agency now. It's
all
like,
right.
If you hear, like I heard one for the Cowboys today or whatever, I said, I'll get to that. Remind me after free agency. We'll put that one out there. So we'll see. Now the Scadab, now you say he's inside the area, but if you have him on the local day, it doesn't count. But then you can actually, I've had this before, say, oh, that guy doesn't count. No. We made it an official 30 visits. So you can get him in on a different day and you can go through the full thing with him. So I don't know how they're planning on do that. I will clarify and get that answer for you before I'm on with you guys next time.
That's great. That's great.
Mike, real quick before we get you out of here, do you feel like with Dallas, Micah Parsons, after seeing that Max Crosby deal yesterday, like, are they set up to be in a position maybe like Cincinnati where they potentially have to deal Micah Parsons? Or do you feel like Jerry's going to eventually get that done?
I'm greater than 50-50. He eventually gets dealt. That's where I am.
He gets dealt or gets done?
That he gets dealt, traded. Wow. Until you convince me otherwise. And there just hasn't been enough action on their part. And having talked to all the people involved in the world, this is already starting to go the way that we thought Max Crosby was going to be first. Then it was going to be, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, and everybody keeps saying that Parsons was going to be last. So there's no rush on the Cowboys' part, and there's no rush on his part, and they haven't had any. But if there's not, right, and you're starting to sense like, when are you going to try to get this done? To me, it's still the other option being available, and I know that they've tried to poo-poo it and downplay it or whatever. But to me, I'm looking for the potential for Micah Parsons to potentially be part of the trade market as we go along here.
Last little thing. Can you give our audience a little insight on what your day starts to look like come the tampering period?
Yeah. By the way, Christian Kirk is already, he just got traded to the Texans. So yeah, my colleague,
wow.
So not
as I'm on with
released,
you, yeah.
but traded. Okay.
So there you go. So he's off the board. So he's not coming back there. Yeah. What was the question?
Just what's your day? What's your morning? Like when you
Probably looks a lot like that, Bo.
Yeah, ramp up for tampering period. I mean, is it you just lock yourself in your office and just
it's a lot of I mean, yeah, but I also have to figure out dinner for these kids tonight and what the heck we're going to do there. And we've got a show tonight, NFL Network, the Insiders every night at 7 p.m. So we'll see how this goes. If I'm able to kind of stay upright, because you get tired, you're waiting up for some calls that you think might come when you're going to bed. It's a lot of also like, hey, check on this. I hear this is close, and you call. No, it's not. So it's a lot of those calls for that little moment of glory where it finally comes together.
Unbelievable insight from our guy, Mike Garafolo. He gave you everywhere you need to find him. Of course, 7 o'clock. Is that Eastern time for the Insiders? But of course, you can find it on your socials. Follow Mike Garafolo on Twitter. Unbelievable. His first official visit here with us on PHNX Cardinals. Can't wait to do it again, Mike.
We appreciate you, Mike.
Thanks for having
you. Woo! I want to call it Mike and the Boys. We're going to call it Mike and the Boys, not something else, Mike and the Boys. We're fired up here. That was as good as it gets for about 20 minutes. Mike's going to be joining us over the course of the next 6 weeks ahead of the 2025 NFL Draft. We're going to debrief. Plus a mock draft. It's PHNX Cardinals. But first, debrief. You got to stay cool. You got to stay cool with our friends at Shady Rays. Looking cool too, by the way. I've got several pairs, and they're the elite for not an elite price in terms of paying out. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames, crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor activities and adventures. I've taken them on an adventure before, out to the seas of Hawaii. I've lost a pair. I got a new pair shipped to me. Bada bing, bada boom. Under 40 bucks. Of course, you want to load up right now, 35% off. Use the bonus code PHNX. Head to shadyrays.com. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. I'm going to tell you right now, the best sunglasses I've ever had. My wife ordered a pair, didn't vibe with them. Sent them back, got a different pair, loves them. Absolutely, no charge. Again, if you have not checked them out already, it's shadyrays.com. Bonus code PHNX. Tell them Johnny and Bo.
Oh, we love it. We love our Shady Rays. You always look better cruising around in your sunglasses when it's behind the wheel of a brand new Ford. From Sanderson Ford, they're proud to have Sanderson Ford as our official vehicle partner here at PHNX, and it's Truck Month at our favorite dealership. That's right, celebrating those who get behind the wheel of a truck every day, like myself. We like to celebrate you, and why don't you get into this exclusive party, but not too exclusive. Everybody can join by getting over to Sanderson Ford, where they have hundreds of trucks on the lot, all of them marked down with big discounts for Truck Month. Check it out. Choose from an entire lineup of Mavericks, Rangers, F-150, Super Duties. If you want more off-road capabilities, check out the full-size Broncos and Bronco Sports that are marked down for Truck Month. Unbelievable. Check out the examples. Save up to $11,000 on Ford F-150 trucks plus 1.9% financing. Tough to beat that. Save up to $4,500 on the Bronco Sports plus 2.9% financing, and save up to $4,000 on Ranger trucks plus 3.9% financing. Check out the 2024 models. Finance offers 36 months OAC through Ford Credit. Discounts include Ford rebates, Sanderson discounts, plus trade assistance and Conquest cash. You must qualify. Offers, they actually expire at the end of the month. You got time, but the clock is ticking. Get over to our friends over at Sanderson Ford. They thrive on their no hassle, no pressure, no nonsense sales approach.
Drop a like on this video if you like what you heard from our guy Mike Garafolo, NFL Network. He's going to be back in 2 weeks to talk all things Arizona Cardinals ahead of free agency and the draft. So much to take away from that time with Mike. You and I have kind of been stewing on that. Obviously, you guys saw the Christian Kirk news broke. We haven't touched on that yet. 7th rounder. Kirk's going to make, looks like, all of his contracts, so good for him. The Cardinals, though, I think major takeaways leading us to believe, again, reinforcing the message. Like, I don't know how many times national people are going to spell it out on this show. They're going to be aggressive. They're going to be major players. Like, and you could say, well, every team says that. They don't. Look what Dallas is saying with Jerry Jones. They're not going to be aggressive. Like, the Cardinals understand the task at hand. It may not be that they sign all the players that we want them to sign. Certainly last year was a disappointment, but I mean, like, outside of Mike coming out and saying, like, yeah, it's a done deal with X, Y, and Z. I mean, that's about as reassuring as you want to hear ahead 4 days out, Bo.
Yeah, in the right places, right? He said they're going to be aggressive, but not, where it's going to steal, top headlines with playmakers. That's not what this free agency is about. Like, the better players are in the trenches, the non-sexy players, but it's exactly what the Arizona Cardinals are looking for and what they've been able to do. Like last year, going into year 2 of this rebuild, Monti Ossenfort's looking for players to fill out a roster, guys that can raise the talent floor on the Arizona Cardinals. And now they're at the point like, okay, we need impact makers. We need guys to get us past the finish line here and into the playoffs and beyond. So I think that's where you start to look, and they've identified where their remaining needs are. And that's what the assignment was for Monti Ossenfort: draft and develop, make your roster, and then supplement free agency. And they've got the ability to do so with a ton of cap space at their disposal, with $74 million in effective cap space. So, that's where you go. And now you start to kind of window shop a little bit. And that's why we started the interview off with Trey Hendrickson, which I thought was interesting. Like, and I want your thoughts. I saw the chat chime in. What it's going to take to get Trey Hendrickson away from the Cincinnati Bengals is a day 2 draft pick. And then you're going to have to sign him to a pretty lucrative extension post 30.
Done deal. I mean, I have no issue with that. I think you sign Milton Williams and you trade for Trey Hendrickson, it changes the dynamic of your team. I mean, and then you still have pick 16. You could trade down with pick 16 and recoup maybe one of the picks that you lost in the trade. I mean, like, how do you feel about giving up pick 47 for Trey Hendrickson right now? I think
if you give up, I don't know if you have a ton of cap space, but I don't know if you have that much cap space. I mean, then you become a little bit, house poor as far as how you allocate your cap cash, because Hendrickson, depending on how you tweak his deal, and they've got experts on that, and you got trust in that. But essentially, you're going to get a guy at $30+ million, and you're going to get a guy at $25 million, and that's going to be $55 million towards 2 front 7 players. That's where you get a little dicey. I don't think it's like, hey, let's get both. I think it's an either or situation, and then you fill in the gaps.
I think when you're starting from scratch with the Cardinals defensive line, save for Darius Robinson, I think multiple big ticket acquisitions need to be had. Now, I don't think Trey Hendrickson's not my first choice, right? Because I do hesitate in a defensive end rich draft to give up a pick and $30 million for a guy over 30 years old.
You should.
That makes me nervous.
I'm
glad.
Parsons, that's the responsible thing to do. That should be your first initial, like, ooh.
Micah Parsons, however, as he tucked that little nugget away, I thought he said they're going to get a deal done, and he said dealt. And when I saw Trey Hendrickson today, Bengals waved the white flag after that Max Crosby deal. They're like, we're done. Once Jerry and company figure that out for themselves, pick 16 for Micah Parsons plus, that's what I'm doing. 26 years old, making him the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. So there are a lot of different avenues that they can attack. But here's the deal. You want to attack those avenues, you got to make sure as hell that you can secure those players, because here's what can happen. Well, we're going to go all in for Micah Parsons eventually, or Trey Hendrickson or whatever. So we're not going to sign Milton Williams on Monday or Josh Sweat. And we're gonna bide our time, right? What happens if the team changes their mind? Somebody flakes out, a team outbids you, and you're sitting there with nothing after about 7 to 10 days of free agency. It feels like there's going to be a lot of veteran movement, which I'm excited about. But if you're Monti Ossenfort, that's why I think you can have your cake and eat it too here. No pun intended. I'm certainly going to do that come Monday.
Yeah.
Milton Williams, backload some of the contract, maybe restructure Kyler Murray. I mean, you got enough cap space. It's the NFL. Manipulate the cap. I'm not going to sit here and say you can't have a big money edge rusher and a big money D tackle. You can do both.
You'd have to structure Trey Hendrickson's deal to where it's essentially like a 1-year deal extension. I mean, and that's where it becomes complicated. Like,
I think you could backload Milton Williams and front load Trey Hendrickson, given their ages.
Well, I mean, he's got 1 more year on his deal. You don't want to rip up a contract where it is, and Jalen Blair was making a great point. You can, like, the first year of it, Trey Hendrickson's making he's got an $18 million cap hit, which is like you sign up for that for sure. But like he's going to be 32 in 2026, and you want to be paying a 32-year-old pass rusher $30+ million?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's not my first. Not to interrupt you. Were you surprised by how many people today were like, "That's the move for the Cardinals"? I was.
Like on the Twitter streets?
Yeah, like people were like, "That's the move."
And the guy just led the league in sacks. But his age puts him in a position where, you know, as far as the draft capital that it would command, that's why people, I think, were more on board.
Yeah, I guess like
wants to be like, oh, I'm so savvy, but it's like you all had the same idea.
Yeah, for sure. I guess like, and we've been talking about Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, Micah Parsons. Like, this is a guy who's significantly older, and is he a scheme fit? I don't know, but yeah, it is a concern with the money and the draft capital. Like, I don't want to suggest like you could take, you know, one of the kids out of Ohio State, not Jack Sawyer, because that would be poison.
I'm so sad that dream died.
It is dead.
I'm kind of bummed to hear you talk like that.
It couldn't be more dead. Let's say you get the kid out of Boston College or one of those second-tier pass rushers making no money. Like, my guess is they're probably going to go that route. But Milton Williams is free 99 next week. He's 26 years old. He's not going to cost you any assets. It's going to cost you money that you have and that you have to spend. I love securing Milton Williams on Monday, and then it's just like, let the edge rusher market come to you. If there's a unique situation where you can pounce, do it. If Hassan Reddick comes around and says, I'll take a 1-year deal. Did you hear what Mike Garafolo said? He's like, 1-year deal, prove it deal, right? Go let him reset that. I've been saying that for 3 months.
Yeah.
Milton Williams, Hassan Reddick, reunite, and then take a first-round edge rusher. It's just problem solved.
Yeah. Louis Riddick put out, you know, the pressure percentage from Trey Hendrickson, his sack percentage, and he was 1 this past season with 17.5. He was 2 the previous season. The amount of snaps he plays, you could probably take that down a little bit. He was like 72 and 67% respectively, but I think you could probably spring and spend a bit recklessly on a guy on one position, right? I mean, you've done that enough. You've dieted enough. Now you can have that cheat day. You can splurge. You can have that Reese's peanut butter cup after dinner before bed, just one. But you can't just stuff your face, continuously every day, every night.
We got so much going on right now. Are we gonna have to move our mock to tomorrow?
Oh God,
there's just so much going on right now. We've got tons of super chats. People want to talk free agency. Yeah. Do us a favor. We're gonna keep going, but you gotta like the video.
It was like Garafolo said. When I asked him about the visits, he's like, "Brother, I'm so like in over like neck high as far as free agency. We'll get to the draft in a bit. Draft can take a little bit of a backseat until tomorrow. We'll have a banger of a mock draft."
We're going to keep talking free agency. We're going to answer all your questions. We got almost 1,200 people watching live. It's PHNX Cardinals. So fired up for free agency, but the perfect appetizer I've been saying for free agency is NASCAR at Phoenix Raceway. It's like, I'm stressed about this. So perfect, like, night out with the fam begins tomorrow through the 9th, March 7th through the 9th. NASCAR returns to the Phoenix Raceway. Join the stars of NASCAR. Battle it out for the Shriners Children's 500. Great cause. There's nothing like witnessing the stars of NASCAR. Football season's over. It's NASCAR season, baby. 200 miles per hour on the foothills out in the Phoenix Mountains. 40 drivers are going to compete. Chase Elliott, Denny Hamlin, Bubba Walsh, just to name a few. And, of course, the coup de grace, the chef's kiss, 2024 NASCAR Cup Series champion, Joey Logano. He's like the Milton Williams of NASCAR. It's a best-in-class fan experience. The whole family will enjoy. Grab your tickets now. It's phoenixraceway.com.
One thing that it could only up what's going on in Phoenix Raceway is if we get one of these Waymo cars out there. That's what I want to see. I want to see a Waymo compete with Joey Logano and Bubba Wallace. That's the true test. Man versus machine. Get one of these unbelievable rides from Waymo. Put me in the back seat. I'll just be back there on my phone, just scrolling comfortably, nice, easy music like I'm going to the airport, but I'm just driving at high speeds with the best that NASCAR has to offer. Love it. What's going on with Waymo, of course, to and from the airport. I want to get to and from work every day in Waymo. I want to ditch my car with the Waymo One app. If you haven't downloaded, if you haven't tried it, if you're here in the Valley of the Sun, if you're in Los Angeles, if you're in San Francisco, those are the places that Waymo's driving 150,000 miles per week. They're putting in the work right now. They've actually driven over 40 million miles of real-world driving experience. Waymo, it's the first company to serve fully autonomous ride with no human behind the wheel in 2015. What you got to do right now is download the app yourself. Check out what's going on. They're on a mission to be the world's most trusted driver, making it safer, more accessible, and more sustainable to get around without the need for anyone in the driver's seat. And that's exactly what Waymo does. They hit a home run with it every ride. Download, request, ride with the Waymo One app.
Everybody, like this video, subscribe to PHNX Sports. Man, tons of stuff to dive into. Let's focus on Micah Parsons real fast because he touched on that on the tail end, and I just want to get your thoughts on that. Would that be your first choice among anything else, is to end the offseason with Micah Parsons?
I mean, he's the biggest war daddy out there as far as the NFL goes. I mean, kind of a positionless player, but all front seven, does everything you need. He would be the ultimate weapon for Jonathan Gannon and Nick Rawls's defense. I don't think there's any doubt. I think he would serve that role for all 32 franchise. I think it would be silly, based on where Dallas has invested all of their money and them to strike out on probably the most valuable player that they have.
So I agree. I think that would be number one unequivocally. And then you look at the Niners, who are stripping it down. Sounds like the Niners are just going to trade Brandon Ayuk or do their best to. I don't know how that can do that when he's not medically cleared. But the Niners, Hargraves is gone. I wouldn't be surprised if they dealt Nick Bosa at some point. Speaking of Bosa, Joey Bosa released by the Chargers. I was surprised why all the people pointed that out. There's another option for the Cardinals. That's the kind of player the Cardinals need to avoid.
Yeah.
With respect to Joey Bosa. Doesn't play in most of the games. In fact, he plays in about half. He's been expensive. He's limited as an athlete now. I mean, you think about the versatility the Cardinals like from their edge rushers, long, athletic. I mean, I would love to see all the Niner faithful like reunite Joey Bosa and Nick Bosa. Yeah, do that, Niners. Do that, San Francisco. Continue to get more old and expensive and a team that is going nowhere fast. The Cardinals, that's why, again, you keep coming back to the ex-Eagle players and Milton Williams and Josh Sweat, who we're going to touch on. It's like they're in the peak of their career. Their best football should be ahead of them. Joey Bosa could be, I venture to say, like retired in a couple of years.
Sell stock on the 49ers.
Yeah.
I mean, if you got in early and you realize that once like John Lynch's top assistants in that front office, that scouting department took better job or, got promotions for themselves, especially Adam Peters, that would started to become, they started to erode in the Bay Area. You haven't seen them, like they're utilizing first round picks on guys who don't have first round grades. They got away with missing on a quarterback. And then, now they've got to they're going to get into probably a tough negotiation with Brock Purdy that they're trying to start at $45 million when people are saying this guy could get around $60 million. And then he's going to have to prove his worth without some of his top receivers there next season, potentially. So yeah, with that, it's interesting. And then the Dallas is like continue to fumble the how they dealt with this Micah Parsons thing. It really is interesting to see that. And with like teams that were consistently in the playoffs the last season, them taking a back seat, it's time for the Cardinals to really kind of take this moment and take advantage of it.
Everybody be sure, if you're watching on one of our many streaming partners, jump on over to gophnx.com. Like this video. We got 1,200 people watching live. If you're watching live on the Twitter streets, jump on over, give us a shout on YouTube. Like this video. It would help exponentially as we continue to dive into free agency. I think Bo is Googling what I was going to bring up next. Snacks asking, did you guys hear the Cards are favorites to trade for Denzel Ward? That's from MLF Football on Twitter, which,
well, it's from Bovada.
Oh, is it? So they took the odds for that?
Bovada odds, yeah.
I think if you're wagering on that, you're kind of asking to lose your money a little bit. Not to say you wouldn't love Denzel Ward, but just feels like if you're trading for anything, you're trading for Gannon loves his secondary. I mean, we talked to him about it off air, even, before our interview. Like that unit's got the most promise on the team.
Yeah.
They had a 3rd-round corner. They basically redshirted last year. I mean, that Denzel Ward's going to command a top 100 pick minimum. I mean, use that on the guy we were just talking about, Trey Hendrickson or otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, unless you're trading one of those young corners, for Denzel Ward, but why wouldn't you want a control over a piece like a Max Melton or we'll see what Elijah comes of Elijah Jones, but like Starling Thomas, Max Melton, Garrett Williams, like you want to see what those guys bring because you've got a lot of confidence that they're going to develop and make big plays for you on their rookie contracts, and the luxury of having that is pretty valuable. That's probably why I wouldn't think that Denzel Ward makes a whole lot of sense. But like if you follow that account, like they do go to these Bovada, and it's really to like incite just betting.
Yeah. Let's see what else do we have to jump into here. So Christian Kirk not going to be an Arizona Cardinal, which is disappointing. But free agent market continues to make specific wide receivers available that we otherwise thought maybe wouldn't be available. The defensive line, the offensive line, I think continues to be the priority. I thought Will Fries, what he had to say, like, I like Will Fries as a player. I think I'd be disappointed if they sunk a bunch of money into Will Fries. I think maybe you let the guard market come to you again. They did well with Evan Brown last year. We know they want to add and upgrade the interior offensive line, Bo, but I mean, with how significant his market is.
Hate guards. You just say it. You hate the position. You
no,
hate
I don't. I for sure love it.
You were out on Joe Tooney yesterday. I think never been. You just hate the interior of the offensive line.
That's not true.
You don't see anything as a worthy investment. Why do you hate interior offensive linemen?
I like Will Fries a lot, but if it comes at the cost of Milton Williams, then there's no reason you can't have both.
Sure, I'll agree with that. But if it would cost you about $15 million a year, would you take Will Fries at that deal?
If they sign Milton Williams, yes. Yeah. I don't want to be exiting Monday. It's like Will Fries is a Cardinal and Joe Blow edge rusher and scrub dirt.
Well, here's the thing, though. Here's something that you will have to realistically prepare for.
Okay,
and we're days away from tampering period, just because of what we talked about in the first segment. Say New England Patriots come way over the top and they pay Milton Williams something that most teams are just not comfortable with because it restricts your ability to be a good and savvy team builder. This draft presents an ability to get better. Like by not signing Milton Williams because somebody came out of nowhere and spent the most money on him, a reckless amount of money. It doesn't like shut down and close down the roads and the paths to you getting better at that position.
I just feel like the impact is certainly bigger on the defensive line, and the Cardinals have shown you that they can get quality guard play out of mid-level guys. What they haven't shown you, and this is an indictment of Rollis and Gannon, they can't take a bad defensive line group and make it great, to make it a postseason worthy. I thought the Cardinals' offensive line was the best unit on the team last year. Maybe running back. I mean, it's been up there as one of the best.
But the team wants to upgrade.
We do, 100%. I'm not saying that they're not going to sign a big money guard. It's just not. I would be disappointed Monday if that's the marquee signature addition, and then they're like sniffing around some other guys, some mid-tier guys. That's all. I think it's time to reward Rollins.
That's setting yourself like it's the Milton Williams or bust approach. Like you are setting yourself up for potential very real disappointment. I mean, I understand like he's their top target, but everybody wants to like that's why the show is named the Milton Williams sweepstakes. Like everybody is in on Milton Williams.
Win a sweepstakes for once in your franchise's career. You have nothing more to lose in terms of like everything should be going for them to win the services of this guy. I don't want to sit here and talk about, well, they're going to get outbid by New England because they have a little bit more cap space. New England has no good players.
Not because that's not what the point is. Not because of how much cap space they have, but because if somebody gets reckless and pays him something that he's not worth, he gets the Albert Hainsworth contract.
But he's not getting that.
That's what the scenario that we're positioned because it happens in offseason. Like, remember Christian Kirk? And you saw it in like the Jaguars and what they were willing to spend, the rest of the league and what they were willing to spend. It's like the New England Patriots have the equivalent of NFL free agent FU money.
but they have too many needs that they have to solve where they're not a player away. And if they give Milton Williams $30+ million, it limits them to add they have no offensive line. They have no skill players, right? Their secondary, it's okay. They've got Christian Gonzalez. They need multiple defensive linemen. Like I think Milton Williams is a piece to get you over the top. You're an 8-9 team with a defensive head coach, and this is the biggest hole on the team. It's the defensive line. Like Carolina, you have more money than them, and you should be more attractive. The Vikings, don't let Kevin O'Connell and company outbid you. They went out and took away the best defensive edge rushers last year. Don't let them do that again. I just think I agree that it shouldn't be Milton Williams or bust, but it's what Milton Williams represents. And what he represents is exactly what the team needs. You have an in with him with your head coach. You have the money to sign him. And if it comes out that they're outbid, I mean, you and I both have to agree. If it comes out and they're outbid for Milton Williams, and it's a number you would have been comfortable paying, it's an indictment on how they structured free agency.
Well, and if they strike out completely in free agency, yeah.
What's completely? I'm talking about like
what Mike Garafolo told us, and echoes a lot of the comments and conversations that we've had, is that this team's going to be aggressive in free agency, not just active, but aggressive in free agency. And they're going to be players because of the cap space that they have and then the state of their roster. If they get better, if they add players that you can say without a shadow of doubt, they're better tomorrow than they were yesterday, then I'm going to be fine with it. Like I'm not just going to put all my eggs in the Milton Williams basket.
Milton Williams played all 17 games this year. He played in every playoff game.
You don't have to give me the scouting report on Milton Williams.
Here's why I'm doing that. Here's why I'm doing that.
Okay.
He's missed one game in his career. Consistently plays deep into the postseason. Every other available player this year he's almost question mark proof. He doesn't come with any questions. Every other player that you're going to sign comes with questions. Now, it could work out. Hassan Reddick's older. That could work out. Josh Sweat, as Garafolo told us that we had heard at the combine, got a little bit of a knee, right? Yeah. That could be a concern. Also, the production isn't great for Josh Sweat, right? Jonathan Allen's old. Javon Hargraves is old and injured, right? These guys are available for a reason. Milton Williams is a unique situation. If there's a time to go all in, it's with this.
I hear you. I'm with you. You don't have to diminish these other guys just to make your Milton Williams point.
But I think if your mindset is we're going to bulk at going over $1 million or $2 million over New England so we can get guys in here that aren't as good, that have more question marks because they're cheaper, that's a losing mentality. And it blew them in the face last year. I mean, it really bit them in the ass last year. We're going to nickel and dime Justin Jones and Bilal Nichols, and look what you got in terms of production. Nothing, you can get anything.
I don't think they're in a position where they're going to nickel and dime, but I think that it's been outlined to us, even like with Gannon, who joined us, like when he told us in his interview, like the free agency and how it's, such an inexact science. Sometimes you can get outbid or you lose out on players for various reasons, things that are without, not in your control. So I'm not just going to say Milton Williams signed with another team. That's an indictment on Monti Ossenfort with it.
You got to see what else they do.
Yeah.
We got to wait to paint this whole picture. I don't disagree with you. Go ahead.
No, what was your thoughts on the quarterback? What Mike Garafolo said about the quarterback? Pretty much what we've been saying since the end of the season.
I mean, but the little nugget on the end about like to maybe push Kyler Murray. You and I have pushed that narrative for 2 months. Now, that's the first time we've heard somebody inside league circles say, like, this wouldn't be a bad thing. I mean, Ossenfort and Gannon are going to come out and say that, but we know that.
What did Ossenfort tell you to your face at his presser?
Correct. He said
2 weeks ago.
They're going to bring in competition because
they want competition at every position. That's the type of culture they want. I mean, not to make a guy uncomfortable and say, hey, this guy's coming for your job.
Not Brian Flores and Tua, for sure. We're not going to do that. Damon's not here. He can't relate to that. That's a good Brian Flores, was mean to Tua.
Right.
I think who fits that bill then? I mean, you brought up Danny Dimes. Who can push Kyler Murray?
I mean, in this class, I mean, realistically, just somebody that can be Kyler Murray's peer in that room. Somebody he can bump ideas off. What you see, somebody that's going to push them in practice, push them in the classroom. I think that's what it is. But as far as really somebody that's going to push for Kyler's job, I don't think that exists. But no. I think of strengthening the QB room and raising the talent floor in there, I think that you could look to DJ, you could look to Gardner Minshew, you could look to Jacoby Brissett. Those are some guys that I think would fit the bill.
I think pushing signifies that it's a quarterback that started games within the last year or so. Daniel Jones, Minshew, Jacoby Brissett. Minshew's a really interesting name, but does he fit what they want in terms of stature? They want a big guy with a big arm, and he's kind of
like Tyrod Taylor. Is he still under contract with the Jets?
Jets. He's going to be he's going to be a backup or a starter depending on who they draft. But it has to be a quarterback of note, right? It's not going to be a Dobbs or that kind of player. And you've been making this case, I'll give you credit, since like November, December. Like when Kyler Murray comes back to the huddle, with respect to Clayton Tune, like he needs somebody else to talk to. Yeah. He benefited from Colt McCoy early in his career. They need another version of that, but probably more athletic and a higher upside. Yeah. And fair or not, I don't mean keep ripping on Ossenfort. Last 2 off seasons, the Cardinals have blown the quarterback room. 2 years ago, sticking with McCoy when he had a dead arm and everybody knew it. And then last year, the abysmal trade for Desmond Ridder, the guy just can't even play and he's on the practice squad. You basically gave away Rondell Moore. Go out and we know Ossenfort tried to get Daniel Jones when he was cut. Like, again, though, I don't want this move to take place anywhere near what they need to get done. If Daniel Jones' agent's calling you, say, hey, Daniel Jones' agent, tell Danny to wait until Thursday or Friday next week. I'm booked up for the next 72 hours.
Well, he'll go sign elsewhere, just so you know. That's just not.
Well, that doesn't matter.
That's bad business. You can multitask. I think our guy Monty, who's navigating the draft board while on the clock, I think he's got the ability to do so. Your super chats and more coming up next here on this Thursday edition of, you guys are crushing it, by the way, these super chats. I didn't know we had that much on PHNX Cardinals. Let's talk about Pure Edibles, Johnny. Pure Edibles here in Arizona is in one of 130 dispensaries statewide. 130. You can get yourself some of the delicious kicks that are just like Starburst. How about the soft chews that are caramels? Or they've even got their hard candies and everything, all their effects. They're clearly listed on each Pure Edibles 10. So you know what exactly to expect from their effects. Pure Edibles, founded in Arizona. They've got, they were just up the road at Noble Dispensary in Flagstaff, but they came down the road at I-17 and now in the Valley of the Sun here in Phoenix. I'm proud to call it home. Pure Edibles designed to be ripped, bit in half, making them easily shareable and easy to dial in that exact dose that you're looking for. Pure offers gummies for sleep support, candies, uplifting effects derived from unique cannabinoids such as CBN, CBG, CBD, and marijuana derived from THC. Go get yourself some Pure Edible products from one of the 130 dispensaries in Arizona. Check out Pure Edibles today.
I've alerted my local Circle K that Monday could get a little gross, and in the best possible way.
Multiple trips
to Circle K, double fisting Steve Austin style, some Polar Pops, some Frosters, right? Right now, I'm going to save a bunch of money when I get my sweet tooth on, and come Monday, and you should too, via America's Thirst Stop. Join the Inner Circle for free. New membership program, so easy to download. All you got to do, enter your email and phone number. If you have those 2 things, congratulations, you're saving money. Save 25 cents per gallon in your first 5 fill-ups. Save 3 cents per gallon every single day. Thirst Friends has met its match. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com, Bo, for more details.
That is funny that I got an email press release from the Senior Bowl saying that they were going to enshrine Bo Nix into the Senior Bowl Hall of Fame.
That they have it. That's a thing.
It's a thing. I think our sweet baby Trey McBride is in it, but as poorly as he obviously, I was a cold cake factory on Bo Nix because of what I witnessed at the Senior Bowl.
He was bad.
It was awful in Mobile, but just because he had a good rookie season, they're like, we're gonna ride the Bo Nix train. And we're going to induct him and enshrine him because of his rookie year.
Well, congrats to Bo Nick. Congrats to Zach Stevens and DMVR. I'm sure they'll be at the ceremony. We're fired up. Let's get to your super chat here. Andrew, across the pond, $9.99. Love the content in London. We love you, Andrew. I'd love to come to London. That sounds fantastic. As always, Kirk's hairline is offside. We don't need that. Okay. Oh, wow. Daily Show are always played in my car and or the office. Love that, my guy. Cheers, chaps. Hope to buy the beers in Europe soon. The Cardinals, I would love for them to come overseas and play a football game, and we can all hang out and have fish and chips together. Thank you.
That's something we got to tap into our guy Garafolo about, like what he's hearing, towards the end of his tenure with us, as far as it's going to be before the end of when the schedule releases. Are the Cardinals going to go across the pond next year? That'd be amazing. And I just love to see his coworkers come in and like, what are you watching? It's like, oh, just a couple lunatics talk about Arizona Cardinals football. Hopefully we're converting some people with the gospel of Kyler Murray and the Cardinals.
Gannon, you got it, Bo.
$199 live from Studio K would be an elite PHNX t-shirt. Now, sounds dumb. I wouldn't want something just promoting just our guy Johnny Venerable.
That's rude. We are gonna have some fire t-shirts debuting this offseason though.
What if we did it? It was like Johnny, real animated face, live, and then me sat in the background like our vlog thumbnail yesterday.
If you haven't checked out,
if you haven't seen, by the way, go check it out. It was our final days in Indy, but the thumbnail was JG and Johnny palling it up, and then just me moping in the background, which didn't happen.
Not moping.
As my daughter says, that's a creep.
Blank stare.
That's a freak face. Hey, I like this super chat from Josh. Josh, $5. If the Cards move quick with Hendrickson, you could have some tomorrow. Caffeine and sweet. That would hit like never before. Yeah. Waking up tomorrow, Trey Hendrickson's a Cardinal. Boom. Dairy
I've never dabbled with like mocha. Hard, heavy, like illegal substances, but I would imagine it would hit as hard as those do.
You know what frustrates me, Josh, is like last couple of days, I've woken up to dirty, gross Bears trades.
Yeah.
And Bo and I are just texting at 7 in the morning. It's just like, God damn them and their trigger happy GM, always in the headlines. And he's got a little Steve Keim in him, does Ryan Poles, but can't deny Bears have gotten better this week. I'd be very much for that. Getting Hendrickson before next week, so it would allow you to be nimble, right? Don't be reactionary. Be proactive for once. Like last year, it felt like they were bidding on players that like, I don't know if this is the case or not, but it felt this way, that no one else was competing for. It's like day one of free agency, Bilal Nichols. It's like, what? Justin Jones, huh? And this year, local people who are like, they're going to re-sign their own to start free agency. No, they're not. They're not re-signing 10 players of their own for vet minimum deals. They're going to try to get big ticket acquisitions. They may strike out, but prioritizing Bilal, Nick, get out. Stop doing that.
Keep it going with our guy, Andrew, $4.99. Thank you, Andrew. Have a second super chat, fellas. I've just seen Steve Keim in London. The only man. Yep. Okay.
You want to move on up to that and hear something?
Yeah, let's keep it going.
You want to hear something really sad?
Yeah.
A reporter from Seattle that I follow, Corbin Smith, says, this isn't a report, but I could see the Seahawks and Chargers being able to strike a deal with Metcalf going to LA for a second-round pick and Quentin Johnson.
Ooh. Quentin Johnson would look unbelievable
on the
Seahawks
bench.
Uniform.
He's horrible.
I love that.
He's horrendous. He might be the worst receiver that plays in the National Football League.
I was at the Fiesta Bowl when he torched Michigan, and I'm like, that guy's going to be good. And then Bo and I mocked him to the Cardinals that offseason, and he has stone hands. His hands are so bad. And I got eliminated from a fantasy football like postseason contention in a game down the stretch where I started him and needed 1 point in a PPR. And it was the game he dropped like 6 passes he didn't have. Yeah, let's get him to Seattle. Let's get DK Metcalf out and Quentin Johnson in. I like that.
Oh, man. Gannonite coming back, $4.99. I think we need to make that happen. Get Quentin Johnson to the Pacific Northwest. 49ers unloading, Hawks unloading, Rams dealing with Kelly Stafford. Now's the time. Couldn't have said it any better.
Somebody send that to Monti Ossenfort via postcard, via direct mail. Let's get
Did
that.
you hear Les Snead was just like, yeah, like, sure, you can leave the door ajar for Cooper Kupp, but it's more unlikely than not that he's gone.
It's like the coaches speak of like, or the GM speak is like, sure, we'd love to have him back. We'll just see. We'll see. Like, it's like the people were like, Cardinals are going to re-sign because you're white. No, they're not. He literally said goodbye to the team. Like, but if I had asked Monti Ossenfort, do you guys want because you're white back? You know, he would have said, we're open to it for sure, but they're not going to.
Easy Money Chubbs. Is that the name? Yeah, I like it. $199. If free agency did not suck, that would be great.
Would be great. We have not had a good free agency for this franchise since 2020. I guess 2021 when they got JJ Watt was pretty electric. Don't you think? In 2021. So it's been 4 years since we've had a good free agency period.
Remember when I first started on PHNX and we're like, okay, let's gear up for the offseason free agency. And we got Will Hernandez.
And we also got, that was it. No, Kazir White was the next year.
Mm-hmm.
And then last year was Sean Murphy Bunting, Mac Wilson. The Cardinals just, they're, you could say due. Some might say they're overdue. I'm going to get that tattooed on my forehead. Hey, Monti Ossenfort, you're overdue. Sign some good players, please.
Well, you don't want just some good players. You want
the
one. You want Milton Williams.
Here's the problem. Not to get off on another tangent. It's like the Vikings are like, oh, our pass rush stinks. It's ass. Let's go get two of the best pass rushers available, the best one. And it vaulted them into the postseason with Sam Darnold. It made their defense with Brian Flores, who they rewarded, a juggernaut, takeaway machine. It's like Cardinals are like, yeah, I don't know about Jonathan Grenard or Daniil Hunter. Whoops. The two teams that signed those two players made it to the playoffs.
I love, this is my favorite username here in our YouTube chat, Johan Dotson, because Johnny used to call Johan Dotson, the yodeling wide receiver, formerly of the Commanders, now of the Eagles. And I think Johan actually might be a free agent. Maybe he might be wide receiver.
That would be a content godsend if he signed as the underneath receiver in Arizona. He looked pretty good in the playoffs, did he not? What did Johan do in the playoffs?
Yeah, started listening when the only thing to talk about was guessing the new uniform colors. I don't catch the live often, but thanks for creating a great show and community even when the team disappoints. Johan, you never disappoint. Appreciate you always watching, listening, whether it's live or not. Thankful for all of you who tune into the show and are part of this community.
Johan caught a touchdown pass against the Packers in the first round and then had 2 catches for 42 yards in the Super Bowl. Bring him home, even though this is not his home. Josh is back, $10. Getting Hendrickson doesn't stop the Cards from spending. He only cost $16 million this year. Tell him, Josh. Monty needs to get used to playing with big contracts. Every good team makes it work. They easily can. I agree with that, and I also agree with the fact that every team in the NFL has contracts like that, where they're not going to age well, so be it, but they're going to help you win games in the short term. Welcome to the NFL. You want to be perennial limbo 7-8 wins, or do you want to try to make the playoffs? And what do you want, Monti Ossenfort, your legacy to be? Do you want your legacy to be a middling team in the NFC West that can't get over the hump, or do you want to reward your head coach? We all know if the Cardinals make the playoffs this year, Ossenfort and Gannon are getting extended. You get security for your family, your well-being. You get to do phase 2 of the Cardinals. If they don't make the playoffs this year, I don't think anybody's getting fired, but it's like you're year to year, and you can prevent that by opening up the checkbook next week and getting players that shined this year and previously under your head coach. It's just like, I'm doing your job for you, man. I'm doing your job for you.
Yeah. Whether it's Milton Williams or not, like this offseason is setting up for the Arizona Cardinals to address a major weakness that they've had for the previous 2 seasons, maybe before that, but certainly under the new regime. So the players that are available on the trade market, through free agency, and in this draft, give them an unbelievable ability to upgrade that and put them in a position to really kind of make some noise on the defensive side of the football.
Can I jump in real quick before this next super chat? Because I agree with Mike here. Monty knows what's at stake. I agree with that. They all do. Gannon does. Ossenfort You can tell all the people we talk to. I would be shocked, and I'm not going to put this on Ossenfort if next week they come out and it's mid-city again. They understand the task at hand. They're going to execute just like the draft. You have scenarios. If you don't get this, you can pivot to this. Monty knows he's a smart guy and he's a high level guy. So I'm giving him the immense benefit of the doubt going into Monday. And I hope he rewards this fan base.
Let's cap it here with our guy Reezy, baby. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Bigger pearl clutcher. JV swapping a 6-rounder for a depth piece. Or Bo afraid to pay for more than one starter in free agency? I'm not afraid to pay for more.
I know the answer to this question. It's the latter. Clutch those pearls, Bo Brock. It's like, Bo, do you want Milton Williams and Trey Hendrickson? No, too expensive.
No, Johnny wants to use 2/3 of your salary cap on 2 players.
Whatever. Whatever, bro. Sorry, I like winning games. I'm sick of watching this defense.
Hey, this is my salary. I make per month. It's $4,000. I'm gonna live in a house that costs me $3,000.
Cardinals can be house poor for a year with their defensive line. Let's do it. People are saying Milton in the chat. Is that Joe Milton? Do people want Joe Milton as a member of the Arizona Cardinals? People are saying that the Patriots. I'm not giving up picks for Joe Milton, guys. Isn't he a free agent? Or isn't he you have to trade for him?
Yeah, he was drafted last year.
Cardinals should have just drafted Joe Milton if they liked him. They want a vet. They want a veteran to come in, probably early 30s, I would imagine. Somebody who's seen some things, Bo.
You don't think they're talking about the guy on the thumbnail?
Yeah, they're not talking about Milton Williams?
I thought you were talking about Joe Milton, the quarterback.
I think you're drunk, and I think you need to go home. I think everybody else needs to go home. Enjoy the rest of their Thursday night.
We're never long enough.
Make sure you subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. Like this video. What's the goal here? 500? Yeah, 500. Thank you with the Costco guys dance. Ain't no one talking about Joe Milton. Exactly right, Brian.
I've gone too deep into the free agency pool. My brain is just.
You're one deep in the free agency pool. You're like, I need Milton Williams. Everybody else is dead to me. Look, we're going to get into it one last time before things happen. Actually, that's not true. We've got a Sunday show, Sunday evening. It's for the real sickos. If you're there,
we can do it.
If we're present, you're a sicko. So join us, won't you? Hours before the tampering window opens. But mock draft tomorrow, and then whatever crazy NFL news hits us before the show, we're going to be all over it. Make sure you're following Johnny, Shane, and myself on socials at PHNX_Cardinals, Twitter, Instagram, and have a great rest of your Thursday. We talk to you on Friday. Let's take it home, PHNX Cards.
We all silly like the mayor.